Oh, I want. I get together and do.
No.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Ready over here? All right. Good deal. We are all set, ready to go. We will go ahead and call to order. This is City Council regular business meeting for Thursday, March 21st. It is 6 o'clock. Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Brown, Cool,
Here.
Livingston. Here. Meineke.
Here.
Mayor Tom Phillips.
And here we do have a quorum, so we'll move on. Item number 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, item number 3 is approval of the agenda. Would anybody like to move any of the consent agenda items to the regular agenda?
Would like to J.
Jay. Any others? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second. Motion by Cool, seconded by Meineke. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Item number 4 is a dedicated work session for mayor and city council. We'll move into the regular city council meeting right after work session is done. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about master planning with city facilities, specifically this building.
Yes, that is.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm going to try to not talk too fast. We're just kind of rapidly from one meeting to the next here leading up to the council meeting.
Iowa State's playing tonight too. So.
Okay, maybe I'll just talk fast. We really just wanted to take some time and show the full council, anybody that's participating on Zoom, citizens of our city facilities planning that we are doing. We put together a facility planning committee. All the members there are on the right. They represent all the different departments of the city. And we've put together, I summarized it in about 10 steps here of what it looks to move out into the future as far as what our facility planning is. And I'll just step through it real quick. Number 1, the library is exploring the purchase of land for a future library. This would require council approval. Parks and Recreation staff will move into the City State Bank Field House. This is actually approved and set to happen hopefully sometime in April of 24, so upcoming. Number 3, Economic Development staff would vacate 1104 Sunset. This is a building that we're currently leasing from City State Bank, and that would be as of May 1st. The Economic Development staff would work in a hybrid format until City Hall can be renovated. That would be through some type of office sharing. And then, of course, something that's a key part of this would be approval of renovation of City Hall. And we're estimating that somewhere in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. It's not yet budgeted, but we have identified some funding sources to be able to accommodate that renovation. Then moving on from there, the police and fire departments need to look into finalizing their options for space needs. Likely they would be doing something similar to City Hall, where they would be looking at some kind of an interim plan of how they could remodel their existing facility to get them by for several years. And then they would go ahead and move forward with their renovation. Item number 8, our current CIP does include a proposed library at $18 million with construction in 2030. So certainly that's several years off, and that's dependent upon 2 key things. Well, actually really 3. That's something that the library board needs to be on board with, as well as city council approval. And ultimately this would come down to a vote of the people. If a new library is constructed, the city will research the use of the existing library for other city uses, potentially city hall or other departments. And then number 10, which this isn't the end of facility planning, but for the foreseeable future, we would be exploring either a new police station or some other type of public safety building to accommodate those folks. Somebody might ask, why isn't Public Works showing up on here somewhere? Wayne, I believe it's in 2030, where the agreement that we have with the school for sharing our current Public Works facility expires.
Correct.
And so the school district is currently looking at what their options are to move the bus barn, their facilities, moving it away from that. So essentially in 2030, we end up with some additional space when the school vacates. So that's in a very quick nutshell. The library, Gene has more detailed plan to talk about as far as land purchase, what their future library looks like in the future. One of the things that I wanted to be able to touch on specifically is what our general design looks like for modification of City Hall. I turn on annotation here. So some of the main things to show on this. Anywhere you see these dark black lines would be new walls. For example, where I just drew that red line, that's currently my office that would be split in two. Our finance director, this is her office, that would be split in two. The mayor is currently housed here, and it would involve moving a wall north, adding an office adjacent to our conference room, converting the current conference room to an office, removing a wall that's right here. It's actually right in there. That's where our city attorney is located, and we would convert this actually to one large conference room. Over here in the entryway, we currently people come in this direction to the building, so that would change and people would come in this way with our reception area being right here. So what we do is essentially we start to make use out of the current foyer and just shrink down the amount of foyer space. Also put in a series of workstations just adjacent to that reception area. We come over into what's currently community development. A new wall would be put here to be able to add an office where they currently have a foyer. There would be the door that exists right now between this side of City Hall and the east side of City Hall. We would leave that doorway there, although that would no longer be an open public access. That would just be a closed off unless there's appointments or whatnot. And then moving a couple walls here, adjusting those to make offices adequate size, adding a couple walls to make an office in the middle, adding two workstations here, and then adding a wall here for a copy room, print room. Otherwise, some of these offices would remain the same, although we would cut in windows. Currently, in some of these back offices, the only access to daylight is a skylight. So we would like to be able to cut in some windows. That's a real quick summary. I know a lot of the staff have looked at this, so if I've missed anything that you think I need to touch on. This all
Will there
looks
still be a service window by the front?
Yes, yep. The service window, it'll look somewhat similar to what we have now. It'll be a little bit smaller, but that service window would be right here.
Okay.
What happens to your storage space?
They get smaller.
Real small?
Like we have a storage space right behind you. That stays the same size. We have two storage spaces right here. One is called our vault. That's where we still keep quite a bit of our, what paper we do need. What I will tell you, one of the things that we absolutely adore about our city clerk is she follows our record retention policy, which, believe it or not, it opens up a lot of space. And so she's done a great job with other staff of streamlining that to make sure if we don't need to be keeping some of those paper documents, we are shredding those, eliminating those documents. Really, the only reduced space, so to speak, is back here where we would have a copy room. And in that location right now is predominantly storage space. So that is some that we would lose. The current cursory estimate of costs, all costs, engineering review, oversight, full bid process is around $550,000. Gene, did you want to touch on how we might be able to cover those expenditures?
Sure. I'm thinking, a combination of funds, one being lost, local option sales tax, and the other being our general fund, and spread out between this year and next fiscal year. By doing that, we stay within our reserve policy, and then we just spread it out over 2 years.
If this was what the city decided to do, can you get your crystal ball out? And given our rate of growth, both as a community and a staff, how long do you think this would be good?
This design gives us one additional open office that we would currently not have staff in. One office would have a part-time employee in an office. And we would have 3 additional workstations that would be open. So the question is, within 6 years, roughly, if the schedule works out for the library as they're moving forward, if that works out by, so approximately 6 years, would we have enough space accommodations? I do believe that we would be okay. In a worst case scenario, we may end up with one particular office that ends up with 2 cubicles in it to divide up space if we have to get by. And part of the reason I say that is we know the impacts of that House File 718. It's going to continue to ratchet down over the next few years. So I anticipate we are going to have to likely hold back on new staff hires anyway, which could slow that down. Slow down the amount of space we need for staff at City Hall, I'm saying.
You know, I thought the current city hall someday might make a good community social hall. Kind of a nice location for it. Kind of laid out for it with a parking lot and everything. Yeah, yes, sir.
So it's kind of sad, but just about the time, so if council says thumbs up, great, let's move forward. We would come back at our first meeting in April with a contract to start to move forward with the official planning, design, and bid process. If we did that, it would be shortly after that, hopefully construction would take place, and we would immediately start thinking about what those long-term plans look like. We had some questions come up at our admin policy work group about, well, how much square footage is at the library? So if that is vacated, if they build a new library and that space opens up, can that accommodate all of City Hall moving there with expansion? Those are questions that at this point we can't answer, but that's something we'd want to start to look into shortly.
Yeah, you'd have to refit that building anyway, so.
And the current library is designed to accommodate an expansion as it's built. Any other questions on that library layout? Or I'm sorry, on that City Hall layout? Sorry, Gene, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Might be important to note, Luke, that we're trying the best we can to not disturb plumbing and minimal HVAC and reusing as much as we possibly can. So doors, some windows, interior windows, things like that, to make it a little less expensive.
That is a good point.
Logistically, how will you guys be able to work through it with them there?
I just had, one of our, Gene actually came in and asked me that today. And I said, I think what we're really gonna have to do is depend upon that bidding process and what it's gonna look like to phase. They may say, hey, all the community development is gonna get real cozy on the admin side of the building for 2 months. And then vice versa. So there's probably gonna be some musical chairs. What I will say is this is one of the huge benefits of COVID. We all got really good at being able to adapt and move, work from home. Our computers are easily, we unplug them, we can go somewhere else, plug them in. If we have access to the internet, we can work. Even our phone system, it doesn't matter where I'm at. My cell phone rings when my office phone rings. So we can be hybrid and make that work. We just have to make sure we stay open for the public.
Good, good.
So I went through those 10 items real fast. Jean, did you have anything you wanted to add for library?
I would say that the only thing that I wanted to clarify was your comment about the library having the ability to add on to it. And it does have that ability to add on to it, but just not the extent of the size of library that we should be moving into. So it can have, because of the topography of where the location is, it can add square footage of a certain amount to either side, but not as much as what the library should have. But otherwise, no, that all fits really well.
Any other comments, questions?
It looked like a pretty well thought through design actually for, trying to maintain the stuff.
It's the 12th version.
I know you're moving out of the old Casey's building. And I'm supporting that. But that's part of an offset of cost by giving up that lease to build here, I would assume.
Right.
So it's not all just throwing out 500,000, you're getting rid of a lease that, I don't know the terms of it, but that's fine, but you're getting rid of it, and that's okay.
Right.
And you get everybody under one roof at the same time.
And presumably that old Casey's building gets occupied by somebody who pays taxes. Because the city doesn't pay taxes on it. So then it becomes a commercial property that we get taxed.
They're paying
Right, have a business.
Well, right.
Bank does it.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
It's, to get a commercial business in there would be.
That'd be nice.
now you mentioned in 2030, the school moves out of Public Works. Is that what you said? And I was curious on how that, we just inherit then the whole building for our purposes?
Yeah, that's correct. The school uses probably 2 bays of the shop area and then probably 3 office areas, a bathroom and a small conference room on the west side of our building.
And then the parking lot.
Yeah, we
Out
gain a
front.
lot of real estate in the parking lot is where we gain, for sure.
Okay, yeah, looks well thought out.
So I guess I'm not hearing any negative comments. So we would plan, at least on the city hall portion, we would plan for April 4th to bring forward a contract for a general contractor to come forward, sign a contract with them, and then they would put together official plans that we would go out for bid in the future. All that timing would be yet to be approved by council.
Yes.
Okay?
Good.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, awesome. All right, item 5, presentations. First one, Kevin Foley's here from the Des Moines International Airport. Something about a project champion.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for putting me on the council or the agenda tonight. Just wanted to give you a real quick, I understand, we're in between basketball game here, so I'll give you a real quick.
Wrestling, just.
Yeah.
People who don't care.
Doesn't until tomorrow anyway.
But wanted to bring you up to date quickly and mostly just say thank you for your political, moral, and financial support of the new terminal. But as we approach 100% design, which is due next month, thought it was time to get back out in front of the councils, even though we've had meetings. Tried to keep people informed what was going on along the way. Not 100% sure that the message was getting carried back to those who voted to support us financially. So we thought we should get back and say thanks. And so as I said, 100% design is due in April. What you have in front of you, you have some little cards with QR codes on there. If you want to scan that at your leisure, there's a fly through. It's only a couple minutes long. But it is accurate enough to say that that will be the look and the feel of the terminal, the final palette, the actual material has been proposed and will be taken to board for a final vote in May. But it is depicted in that fly through and it'll just walk you right through the terminal and everything that's going on. You will start to see foundations going into the ground here next month, or at least earth being moved for those foundations. And by fall, you will see steel start going up. We are constructing the terminal with construction management at risk. The bill that was passed, I think it's 2 years ago in last July. So we're one of the first projects and certainly the largest project that's in the state that's using that process. I will tell you at this point, I don't know how you would do this project any other way. Project's not done, so attitude could change. But so far it has just been the only way to do it. We are on budget for the building. The building is budgeted at $445 million. I have a rough rundown of the finances thus far. Of course, I'm sure you saw that Polk County agreed to bond on behalf of the airport. We were going to do that ourselves, but because they can issue general obligation bonds and we can't, we would have to issue general aviation revenue bonds. Their interest rate was cheaper and ultimately it's going to save about $75 million in interest cost over 20 years. So very appreciative of Polk County doing that for us. We are still on the hook. The loan documents will be taken to board here April 9th and approved and signed, and then the county will actually go to the bond market. I think it's May 8th or about May 8th. So on the financing, we can borrow up to $350 million from the county. On federal grants so far in total, we have $125 million. But when I say that, understand that there's some pavement work that has to go into this, and that's not included in that $445 million budget that I just gave you. State grants, the state has given us $69 million. Of course, 55 million of that was for the garage, and that's not included in the 445 million. But then the legislature approved another 10 million for this project, and very appreciative of the state stepping up. And then with local contributions committed has been $33 million. That's the 20 communities that pledged, and then 5 million from Prairie Meadows. And that is basically the funding that we have today. So phase one is funded. We are there. There's still some federal grants that will come in that I don't think we will borrow the full $350 million, intending to do a bond letting in 3 different tranches right now so that we know for sure how many dollars we need through the bond from the bond market and borrow those back from the county. That's where we are on the finances. Again, we're moving forward, and I will also tell you that phase 2 is under design right now. There is some federal funding that's going to be available. We know that we are going to be eligible for it. It's substantial enough that I don't know that we can afford not to do phase two. I'm not sure that we can afford to do phase two either, depending on how much federal money we get. But if we don't do it, we walk away from that money. And so it's under design. That design will be done in June, and we'll just have to see how it plays out here for the rest of the year on that federal funding. But anticipate that we may be able to build 3 additional gates beyond the 6 that we originally intended with the first phase. And just as a reminder, that first phase in general is the ticket counters. Both bag systems, the outbound bag system and screening and the inbound bag system and passenger screening. And then on the backside, restaurant, news and gift area or concession area, restrooms, and then the 6 gates. A short bridge then over to the existing concourses, which will have to remain. But in total, then we'll have 18 operating gates. And that's what was projected that we would need for the first phase. So, and I will tell you, we need them desperately right now. I don't know if any of you traveled over spring break, but we were busy. And last year when the rebound from the pandemic started, asked my board to allow us to expand a surface parking lot because we got a little tight. It wasn't terrible last year, but it felt like everything was coming back. And it was on budgeted. They approved a $3.5 million expansion. We built 750 additional spaces. And I remember specifically telling them that this should get us through the next 2 years until the garage is done. Those spaces filled this year completely. We still got into contingency parking. And if the garage isn't completed on time next year, we will be in trouble. I will tell you. So we're back growing. This February, we were 9%, had a 9% growth over last February just for the month. So I would answer any questions.
So with all those new concourses out there, then you guarantee there won't be any flight delays on.
Sure, and that's good until I walk out the door. Part of this project, though, to your point, is we are putting in. You may have seen on the news, did a press conference with Congressman Nunn. We've been fortunate for every year that the community funded project grants have been available. We've received a grant. The first 2 were from Congresswoman Axney. Congressman Nunn put in for us this year, and we received $4 million, and that's all going into a de-icing facility. We don't do de-icing of aircraft. There's just way too much liability, and we don't touch airplanes at all. That's an airline function, but the airlines are not noted for having the best equipment. So
That's concerning to hear.
that's
what we write in.
But they'll have 1 or 2 trucks and American, for example, is trying to launch 5 flights in the morning within an hour period, and they deplete the trucks and then they have to heat up and be under pressure. And so we have contracted with a company that will come in with 10 brand new trucks. They will do all of the de-icing, require the airlines to sign up with them. We'll have a ramp area where we will only capture about 10 acres as opposed to 40 acres of water today. So that glycol will be very concentrated, and we can at least give it away, if not sell it, which will save the airport about $1.3 million in wastewater fees. So trying to improve that for the delays. That's one of the biggest complaints we hear is, hey, I had to wait 45 minutes for the plane to be de-iced. So trying to fix some of
Well,
those
good.
things.
That's good. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a plaque,
Oh,
for you.
we'll get your picture.
All right, there you go. You got room in that wall. Matter of fact, it sounds like we might have some more walls.
Turn the other way. That way. We like you too, but.
There we go.
Just to thank you, trying to get out, for those who have championed the terminal project and say thanks to those communities. So thank you very much.
I know the Des Moines Airport's really, really important to us. It's important to the region. So thanks for all you do.
Oh,
And getting this thing, it's gonna be neat when it opens.
it will be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So since I'm down here and I got a question for you. Are there any airports that have been built since the advent of TSA? Or that are our size or larger? I'm just wondering, you know, for TSA, it's gonna be interesting to see an area that is set up specifically for TSA to use to get through.
Yes, the answer is yes, airports have been built.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, and I heard some folks earlier saying, someone's going to Las Vegas, so things are changing. And in large part, it's budget driven because the TSA, they just got a budget today for 2024, fiscal year 24. And it doesn't have near as much money in it as they need. And so that's driving, they can't hire new, transportation security officers. They just don't have the funding. So technology is going to take over. And right now, if you have pre-check, when you approach the airport or approach screening, you walk up, it takes your picture, you show them your license, and they say, have a nice flight. Eventually, you won't even show them your license. And then in Las Vegas, a new screening, passenger screening and bag screening is tunnel. You'll walk through that tunnel. The prototype's been out there for a while. But this is the first one that's being installed. You will walk through with your luggage and get screened, and as long as you don't have anything in your luggage or on your person that flags, you just walk right on the gate.
Really?
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Potentially, you will go through completely through screening without talking to anyone. Okay. So the trick is, that's just coming on board. We're building. How do we make sure that we build so that we're flexible and can update and those things? So cool. For those we have Clear, we will have Clear in the new terminal. We've entered into an agreement with Clear. And that's the biometrics. They check your eyes and it's speaking through, but it's similar to pre-checks. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That
Kevin.
sounded smooth as crossing the border.
All right. Second presentation tonight, Norwalk Area Ministerial Association is here. Crystal Ellis and Pastor Rob Jones. Come on up.
Right, Mr. Mayor, Council, thanks for allowing us a few minutes to be here. I'm here representing the pastors and churches of the Norwalk Area Ministerial Association, which I'm proud to say includes all the churches of our community. That is something that I'm very proud of. I would challenge you to find any city our size or any size anywhere where all the churches actually like each other and the pastors actually like each other, but it's true here in Norwalk. I've been a part of the ministerial since 1995. I am the remaining survivor of that group of pastors as my gray hair betrays me. But so it's been a little while. Back then, it was mostly a pastor's fellowship. We had one service a year at Thanksgiving and we had the food pantry. That's what we did together for years. But as Norwalk began to change, so did the ministerial. And a number of years ago, as more and more people were coming to Norwalk, more and more needs were being felt and seen in our community. And so we've been able to muster the forces of the community, not just the churches and pastors, but many people are involved. In fact, over 100 volunteers are involved in meeting the felt needs of our community, whether it be food, furniture, rental assistance, you name it, any need that somebody has, we seek to try to find a way to meet it. And so on the cusp of, in the front end of that is Crystal Ellis, our Director of Ministry and Outreach. Most of you know her. She's been I think she was in the parade here last year, the year before. So most people know Crystal, but she's got the numbers that she can share with you here just briefly tonight to show you the impact. Literally hundreds of people in our community every year benefit from this. And so, Crystal, come on up here to share a few minutes. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting us back again this year. We did prepare something for you. At the annual meeting that we have a little packet of information that we give to the pastors to let them know about each of our ministries. So I'm going to ask Angie if it's okay for us to share that with all of you.
Yeah.
So that way you would be able to look at that and also see what we're doing. We also have a brochure that this is literally hot off the press. We just got it within the past week. It's been something that has been on my agenda that I wanted to get accomplished over the last year. And we have it now, thanks to the pastors and to a local business that actually helped to design it for us. So as Pastor Rob mentioned, that Norwalk is growing, as you all know, and we're all feeling that growing pains. And part of what we see is a lot of the people that need the help. They come to us, they don't know where to reach out to, or they have to go into Des Moines or into Indianola. Well, with a city our size, we need to be able to service them here too. So as we've been able to work with them over the past few years, we've been able to add some different ministries. And just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we've done, we've tried to figure out ways to serve them based off of our conversations with them, because we try to get to know them personally, because otherwise we're not going to really know what exactly they need. So through that, we have an emergency fund, and that's something that the pastors have had ever since the inception of the Ministerial Association. And the emergency fund, last year alone, we served 60 households. And with that, the emergency fund helps with rent, utilities, water, getting car repairs, different things like that. It has a list in there, it shows you. And through that, we had helped with over $24,000 worth of things that they needed done. That doesn't sound like a lot whenever I just heard you guys talking about millions of dollars. We're not there yet, but what we do is this is all from within the community. It's our community support and the church support. And that's really, I think, is a lot, you know, when we think about everything that's being done. So with that, just so you know, that is also something that could be a higher dollar, because we collaborate with other and nonprofits within the community, or I mean, within the county and within the state that we can locate that maybe can help with some of those dollars, because there's some of them that needs are just bigger than what we can handle. So we do try to make sure that we find those places for them. Pastor Rob mentioned about the food pantry. You'll see in there that last year, an average of 86 households were served a week. We also have the mobile food pantry, which I've talked about that in the past last year. That's the one that's provided by the Food Bank of Iowa. And it does serve anyone within the state of Iowa can come. And we had 123 households on average last year come. We also do food rescue, which some of you are familiar with that. And that's where we pick up food from Come and Go and Fairway 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We also added Dollar General last year in August, and we've been starting to pick up from them. We've been picking up also from Panera out at Jordan Creek Mall once a week. We pick up their leftover bread for the day because they make it new, fresh every single day. So that's been a wonderful blessing. But just the Come and Go and Fairway, because we weigh that, that's one of the things that is part of our partnership with the food bank, is we have to weigh it and report it so they can have a tax write-off, basically. We picked up over 29,000 pounds of food last year that was fed to citizens of Norwalk. If you think about that, that's a lot of food. You know, but that fed people that would otherwise maybe have gone without a meal. So it's helping a lot. And there's a lot of people involved in that, a lot of drivers to help with that. We also have a partnership with what was called Eat Greater Des Moines. They're now called Supply Hive. They've just merged with another organization in Des Moines. And it's basically a food rescue, basic is what they do. And last year alone, we were able to pick up 400 cases. I'm talking good cases of food, produce, dairy, meat. We had ice cream, which was a huge hit with people. I can't tell you how many of the families that where we dropped off the ice cream to at the different apartment complexes were literally so excited because they hadn't had ice cream for, a couple of them told us, a few years, because they can't afford it. It's a luxury item. Think about the last time you had ice cream. I know I love ice cream. I don't know if I would be able to go a year without ice cream. I think we would all really appreciate having ice cream. So, and then we also started Lunch in the Park back a couple years ago. And just so you know, last year we had a huge boom as far as the number of people coming. Lunch in the Park is where we hold it at City Park from the time school ends to the time school starts. So all that time in the summer, it's on every Friday. We feed both children and adults. We're one of the few places that do that because a lot of the ones that are through other organizations, they only feed children. So we surprise the parents when they come and we tell them, yes, we will give you food too. We want you to eat. You're the caretaker of these children. We feel that you need to have a full belly too. But last year in Lunch in the Park, we served 2,475 meals, which was an average of 206 every Friday. That's a lot of people that we were able to serve. But we think of it not just the food, think of the community that's there. If you ever have a chance to come to Lunch in the Park, please do, because you'll be surprised at just the community that forms there. We've seen people that come that didn't know anyone else. They maybe were new to the community. They heard about it. They saw the sign up outside of Fairway and they came to see what it was about. And within, like, the one family I can think of in particular, they came every single week last year. And they were so excited to get to know other people within the community. And you saw friendships being formed and them enjoying their lunch at the picnic table with somebody that they met the week before and catching up on what happened in their week. So there's a lot of extra things that come along with it, not just the food, but the food's a big part of it. We also give take-home food bags to kids, and that's sponsored through businesses help out with that and help to give it out, but also help to donate money to help with the cost of it. And we gave an average of 98 kids take-home bags every week. Some of them had more than one bag, but every child gets a take-home food bag that wants one. And that's giving them protein and breakfast kind of items to just try to help them with their food so they can know that they'll have food to eat all week. So we try to do a lot of different things like that with food. Some of our other things I'll just quickly mention, we have a shoe love program. So right before school starts, we offer brand new tennis shoes, athletic tennis shoes, brand new package of socks, and a brand new package of underwear for every child that comes. We added the underwear last year. We found that was a little awkward saying to kids, would you like a package of underwear? They don't know you. It was kind of weird, but we're like, okay, we'll figure this one out. But they all appreciated getting a package of underwear. They just thought
Kind
it
of
was
reminds
weird.
me of when I was a kid, Christmas,
Uh-huh.
socks and underwear.
Yeah. But we had heard the year before that there were kids that the parent had to make a choice of buying a pair of jeans or a package of underwear, and they bought the jeans because they didn't have enough money to do both.
Yeah.
And so the child was sent to school wearing a pair of underwear 2 sizes too small. So of course they're like fidgety because that would make you fidgety. It wouldn't be very comfortable. So it's kind of one of those things that we find as we go along. So yeah. We do have Warrior Giving Wednesday, which is I think the first thing in the packet that we sent around. What Warrior Giving Wednesday is we, it's kind of like a pop-up pantry of essential items that everyone needs, like shampoo, laundry soap, cleaning supplies. We just did this past month, a week ago, and toilet paper, think basic things. And it's stuff that they can't get through like a assistance program otherwise. Last week, we had our Warrior Giving Wednesday for the month of March, and we served 84 households was served an average of 2023. So that was in 2023. Last week, we served 97 households. So it's definitely something that is in need. and growing. And these are all Norwalk area families. We serve Norwalk address, Norwalk School District. So that does include some incoming, and there's a couple Indianola addresses that the kids are going to Norwalk. So, and at Christmas, as you mentioned, Ed, we do have our Warrior Giving Project, and that's where we help families at Christmas time. And we had 126 households served with 240 children in those households. But the one thing that is kind of a big thing that we do also is we offer help to the family. And a lot of times the parents start to cry when we ask them, how can we help you? So we can take some of that stress off of you here at the end of the year. And they share with us, well, we're really behind on our bills, or my car's not working and I don't know how I'm going to get back to and from work, or, you know, some of those things. And at Christmas, we were able to help with $27,000 worth of bills to help relieve some of that pressure for those families. That's along with 79 food gift cards that were $100 each at least, and 63 gas cards that were at least $50 each. So we add that all up, it's a lot. And it's stuff that's coming from our community and from the generous support that we get. So we just thank the community for that. We just want you to know, you know, this is what we're doing to try to help. And imagine if we weren't here and able to do this, there would be a lot of people hurting in our community. So we hope that you guys like that we're doing this, that you support us in just knowing that we're here, letting people know if you have people come in that need help, letting them know that we're here to help. That's part of why we wanted to do the brochure, to just try to give them that information and the number and stuff on the back. And then some of our goals, just so you know, because everybody has goals, right? We just kicked off a fundraising for a van so that we can, it's kind of a weird thing for us because we're used to asking for money to help others. And we feel like this is something that's going to help us, but it's going to help us be able to help others. We currently have a furniture ministry that we have to find either pickup trucks and men with trucks, or Angie has a van that we have used to move an entire apartment, which is kind of funny to think you're getting all that furniture. We've made a few trips with it, but you know, it's something that we know would help, with a big help. And then plus all the food that I mentioned earlier about Eat Greater Des Moines, those 400 pieces plus getting that here sometimes takes multiple vehicles at a time, and we're coordinating all that. So it'd be nice to have kind of one of those bigger vans to be able to move furniture and move bigger quantities of food at times that we need it to do. We also, now that we have the brochure, we're getting the website updated. We're just trying to update some things to make it look a little better. And then in long term, just like you guys are talking about buildings, that's something that we're hoping to have a building so that we aren't having to do pop-up things where people can come and they can get the help they need at that moment. And we can maybe bring in some of those other organizations that we partner with to be able to get them to sit down with our people and help them at that time. So if you have any questions, and I talk with my hands a lot, so sorry. I should have sat on them, but I can't do that yet.
Did you get your van bought?
Did I what?
Get the van bought yet? Or?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
We are up to, our goal is 30,000, because we're looking at buying a used van because a new one is just very expensive. And we need one that has like a higher top, and then it's a little bit of extended cab, so we can fit a couch in there or a queen size mattress box spring. Those are the two biggest things that we would have at one time. We're up to $16,250. So we're over halfway there, but yeah, we're getting closer. So yeah, our goal is to hopefully have it for in the 4th of July parade, because we just want to use that as a way of saying thank you for all of the community and for everyone that has supported us, because it does take the whole community's support. We can't do this on our own. I mean, all of us are volunteers. I'm a complete volunteer. I don't get paid. None of us are paid for what we do. We just have the love of trying to help others in our community so they can thrive.
You know, the community can be really proud of what you folks have accomplished, I think. And I remember when the wife and I first moved here in '99, the budget for the association was $300 a year. You know, so it's really, I mean, it's grown as the community's grown.
Yeah.
But, you know, the things that you folks are able to do, really worthwhile.
a lot of it's with a prayer and just trusting that it's gonna get taken care of. And we've learned that we aren't in control of it all. And it happens,
that's the truth.
you know, and it's just something that we are reminded of that every time we're sitting there and talking and thinking, wow, I think that we could really, you know, help a lot of people if we could do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how are we gonna make that happen? And we start thinking about next thing we know, things kind of start to fall into place. So I really think that that we're here doing this work because God's calling us to do it. And we just want to try to help as many as we can. And there are some that we've had some wild wins, you know, as far as people that we've helped and things that have been a great accomplishment for them and been able to get their life turned around. And of course, we're gonna have a few that, you know, we're still working on trying to help them, you know. We'll do our best. Well, any questions? Thank you. I don't know if I kept my 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
Not even close, but don't worry.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for the work that you're doing. All right, item 6 on the agenda is welcome of guests and public comment. Thank you all for being here tonight and listening to your local government. We'll go ahead and open up the dais at this point in time so you can address council and myself. For non-agenda items, we'll give you a 3-minute time limit. Realize we can't take action on these tonight since they aren't on the agenda. Also, if you'd like to comment on any item in the consent agenda, now would be the time. So go ahead and if you want to come on up and identify yourself, that'd be great.
That basketball game gets you. Hi, I'm Roy Taylor. Nice to see you all. I know 3 of the council members pretty well. I'm running for House District 22. That encompasses most of the northern and western part of Warren County. A little bit of my background, I'll get under the 3 minutes if I can. I've lived in Warren County over 40 years. 31 years I spent here in Norwalk in the same house with my lovely wife. We raised 2 kids there. Both graduated from Norwalk High School and great education. My son still lives here in town with his almost 1-year-old son. My daughter lives in Ankeny with her husband, Grayson. I lived in Martinsville prior to that, and I lived in Bevington, Iowa. I'm sure you've heard of it. You probably blinked and missed it as you drove through. I lived there 23 years when I graduated from Iowa State. I taught for a while, and then I felt it was time to serve my country. So I joined the Army. After I got out of the Army, I went to work for United Airlines. And I'm going to have to dispute a little bit of what Mr. Foley told you. Because when I lost my job at United, they closed 26 of our stations, union stations, and brought in contract workers. And when they did that, the quality of not only the counter work, but the outside ramp work was showed. And we were union members and we were quality employees. And we did a really good job de-icing airplanes, I'll tell you that, because I worked the overnight shift, and every night and every morning I was out there starting the de-icers, getting those trucks ready to go. And so when we worked there, the planes went out on unless it was a blizzard, those planes went out on time when we were there. The only issues we might have had was a mechanical issue with the aircraft, but if it was anything with de-icing, we took care of it and we did a good job. My major concerns as a candidate is education in Iowa. The last 15 years, we've seen funding drop and we've seen our ranking in the country drop with it. We went from top 5. We're in the middle of the pack now. We've got to get that changed. We got to get public dollars back into public education. And another issue is Iowans' healthcare. Iowans should have control over their own healthcare. It should not be government stepping in and saying, you can do this, you can do that. It's up to Iowans to make their own choices, and we need to put that back in Iowans' hands. I've got a website out there, Facebook page. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We've been doing this since it's been a year and a half now. We've been working on campaigns, so we're really excited to get out in the neighborhoods, and you'll see us door knocking. So look for us.
All right.
And don't arrest us.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Even if you're online. All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. Let's see. Item number 7 is a consent agenda. Tonight we have expenditures, tax abatements. At March 7th, 2024 minutes of the regular city council meetings. Have set public hearing for April 4th, 2024 to approve the proposed property tax levy for general fund liability and property and self-insurance costs and special revenue levies for employee benefits. We have a renewal of Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Legacy Golf Club. A resolution to approve pay estimate number 10 to Elder Corporation for Sunset Drive, Iowa Highway 28 and Beardsley Street Improvements Project. A resolution approving a field ride-along agreement with Mercy College of Health Sciences. We have three pay estimates, resolutions approving three pay estimates for the Norwalk Fieldhouse project. Excuse me. We have a resolution approving change order number 7 to install a gas regulator for proper operation of gas equipment within the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse. A resolution approving change order number 9 to furnish and install trim in the ceiling grid for the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse. We have resolution approving change order number 10 to provide power to the overhead doors at the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse. A resolution approving change order number 11 to revise W7 framing for the Norwalk for the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse. We have monthly reports. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so I got a motion from Livingston. I'm gonna give it the second to Ed. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Poole,
Yeah.
Livingston,
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Item 7J is resolution approving change order number 8 to install concrete in cold weather for the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse. Like to talk about that one.
I would. So I'm just trying to understand how this has anything to do with the email we got about.
Oh, about the slab?
This has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Uh, Brian, do you want to explain? It might be best to have you. I could give my lay version, but I think you'll do a better job.
Brian Crawford with the Dublin, Mr. Mayor, council members. This item right here, Jackie, goes to, at the beginning of the project, a crystal ball of knowing what winter's gonna be like is unknown. In conversations with Robin and Luke previously, we specifically omitted the added cost for winter conditions. And then we could, as they came about, we knew we were gonna have some, we would have the actual cost of what that is versus somebody's speculation of what that is. That's the reasoning for this added item on here. That was for accelerator, hot water to be added to concrete paving or sidewalks throughout the project. And that was separated between Sportsplex and the city.
Okay, and having done that, doesn't have anything to do with the problems that we're now having with the slab.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
As far as the slab goes, all the testing came back properly from all the engineers that was conducted, all the material was installed as specified, all the placement of the material was installed as specified. And the product is acting as anticipated from the engineers and architects on this. The items have been rectified. Epoxy has been injected into the cracks to arrest the cracks. Grinding has been taken place and the preparation for installation of the gymnasium floor is in process right
thanks for clarifying that for me.
now. No problem.
So all the engineers say life is good, right?
Life is good.
I would imagine if you'd have had them bid this winter at the beginning of the bidding process, that the bidding would have been a lot more expensive.
The cost would have been more expensive. We captured nearly the entire month of October without having to have any costs until the very tail end. So that's a positive for the
Yeah.
city that you was able to capture and save those dollars. Because most contractors would just pocket that and go to Aruba or somewhere.
Added contractor.
Yeah.
thank you.
Discussion or comments?
Motion.
Motion? Anybody want- Okay, got a motion by Livingston, seconded by Cool. Any further discussion? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Cool,
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. All right, item 8, old and new business for consideration, discussion, and possible action. So item A.
No.
Item A is public hearing to dispose of real property located near Highway 28 Dubuque Trail for flowage easement in Warren County, Iowa, parcel number, and it's got a parcel number there. So we'll open up public hearing at 7 p.m. Wayne, do we know who's taking this?
I can speak briefly on it. The Warren County is reconstructing a bridge. As part of that process, the DNR requires them to evaluate flooding that may be impacted. My previous conversation with Tony was this bridge is actually gonna reduce the amount of flooding we will see, but new regulations require different easements, extent of easements than we've had in the past. So they're requiring additional easement. We'll probably see less flooding than we have in the past from this project.
Any questions from council?
No.
Lindsay, have we received any oral or written comments on this?
We have not.
Any other public comment?
Motion.
Well, not yet.
Oh, public hearing, sorry.
Hold on.
Appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yes, I appreciate the enthusiasm on that as well. So go ahead and close public hearing at 7:01 p.m. Item 8B is a resolution to approve granting of easement, Warren County, Iowa, for property located near Highway 28 Dubuque Trail. We just had the public hearing on this. Brian?
Motion.
All right, so I got a motion by Baker, seconded by Livingston. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Cool,
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8C is resolution initiating a comprehensive plan amendment based upon a petition from a property owner referring the proposal to the Norwalk Planning and Zoning Commission and setting a public hearing regarding the proposal to change 8800 County Line Road from future agricultural reserve to commercial industrial flex. So this resolution was triggered by receipt of a petition from a property owner that wants to rezone their property. Rezoning first needs a comprehensive plan change for that area. So this resolution formally sends a comp plan change to planning and zoning. Luke, I'll let you take it from here.
You covered the nuts and bolts of it. This is 8800 County Line Road, is also referred to as 8800 Gracie Lane. That is the stub of County Line Road that we changed the name to. So if you were trying to Google search it, it may not have been coming up.
This was the
And
same, this was before us.
this was the one that was
Before in a
before-
different format.
Yep, yep. And so they have gone and obtained the petitions they needed to. So this will take us to the next step of the process.
All right, any discussion, questions from council?
Just out of curiosity,
Oops,
there's
sorry.
2 properties signed off on it. Isn't there a third property or how many feet do they have to be away? To not be asked if they're supporting of the zoning change.
It was within, the way the code reads, sorry, I should have that more. It's not a distance. I believe it just says adjacent property.
Just adjacent.
Yeah, it's not, different rule than when we send notice to people and everything. We do, public notice for things that's within 200 feet.
Okay,
Um,
so I'm confused about that. That's fine. I'm good.
or I may be, so if you give me 30 seconds.
Do we have any public comment? Still need. I got a motion.
Second.
Okay,
It is 200 feet. I was wrong. You were right.
200 feet.
Yes,
Okay.
But full, everybody in 200 feet or just
50%.
50%.
Yes.
So
So
even
it's a
with,
percentage, so it's still good.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
All right, so I got a motion by Livingston, seconded by Minneke. Any further discussion? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Livingston.
yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8D is a resolution initiating rezoning based upon a petition from a property owner referring the rezoning proposal to the Norwalk Planning and Zoning Commission and setting a public hearing regarding the proposed zoning amendment to change 8800 County Line Road from RE1 Single Family Rural Estates to C1 Neighborhood Commercial. So this resolution is related to the prior action. This resolution actually sends the rezoning request, not the comp plan request, but the rezoning request to P and Z.
Correct.
Anything to add?
Nope.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Livingston, seconded by Meineke. Any further discussion or public comment? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Minneke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Cool,
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8E is a resolution initiating rezoning, referring the rezoning proposal to the Norwalk Planning and Zoning Commission and setting a public hearing regarding the proposed zoning amendment to establish regulations on 7.73 acres of Hughes Century Crossing PUD land use parcel E. So this resolution sends a council initiated rezoning request to P and Z. What's this one for?
So land use parcel E is in Hughes Century Crossing. It is the property in Hughes Century Crossing that is north of Chatham on the far east end of Chatham. That parcel in the PUD, we identified 4 different types of uses that could occur there, and the PUD directs the property owner to seek a rezoning to set the specific zoning type for each area. So the types of things that can happen there are essentially town center, industrial commerce, R4, or then a kind of mixed density of R1 through R3. And so what we don't want to have happen is them decide to build what they're proposing here is commercial, but then it still retain the industrial uses. So what this does is it locks it into what they're proposing for parcel E. We've also added the fact that the water tower will be on there. Our zoning allows water tower in all the districts listed there, but we wanted to just be overt in the PUD to say that the water tower will be located in that site as well.
So this would make us really hard to get surprised.
Yes.
Other questions, discussion, comments from council? Or any public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Livingston, seconded by Meineke. Any further discussion? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Cool,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8F, the second reading of an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Norwalk, Iowa by amending the Holland Point Plan Unit Development Land Use Parcel C. So this is to approve changes to some parking and garage regulations within the Holland Point PUD around the apartments, and we talked about this last meeting. Luke, I'll let you take it from here.
I have nothing to add unless there's questions from that.
All right.
But-
I do have a question. I was not at the last meeting.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody else asked this, but under the planning, on the agenda statement, under the Planning and Zoning Commission analysis and recommendation, there's a sentence that says P and Z is also recommending that the required garage parking spaces per unit be reduced for all high density projects moving forward.
Correct.
Did we take any action on that? Okay,
Just a note from P and Z as part of their discussion about this whole thing.
all right,
They felt that the number was on the high side.
okay, fair
Wanted to
enough.
Pass that along. Yep.
So this reading is just to, as it relates to this
Yep.
development.
And the PUD for Holland Point.
Yes,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
Other questions? Discussion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Livingston, seconded by Meineke. Any further discussion? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Cool,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. So we approved the first readings of the next 5 items at our last meeting. Just for review, our next 5 items are procedural items, so we're going to go through these really quickly. Council has already passed resolutions on repealing them, but we now have legal advice that we need to formally repeal the ordinances that created some of our urban renewal areas. So that's what these items are. Please note that this is a repetitive process and it appears somewhat messy, but it's the recommendation of our bond council so that we meet state law and keep information clear for the county auditor's office. Actions affecting Norwalk urban renewal areas impact the taxes. The way taxes are processed, a detailed process helps prevent problems down the road. So G is a second and possible final reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 99-01, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 1999 addition to the Norwalk urban renewal area. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Baker, seconded by Livingston. Lindsay, would you call roll?
Councilmember Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Make a motion to waive the third reading.
Okay, so the motion, first
Second.
motion carries. I got a motion to waive final reading.
Yes.
Anyone want a second?
Brian.
Second.
Baker seconded. Thank you. Lindsay, would you call roll?
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8H, second possible final reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 00-16, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the amendment to the 1999 addition to the Norwalk urban renewal area. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance as presented? Who was that?
Ned.
Second.
Motion by Cool, seconded by Livingston. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Cool.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Can you make a motion to waive the third reading on this one?
Second.
Yes, okay, so I got a motion by Cool, seconded by Livingston to waive the third reading. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8I, it's a second possible final reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 00-17, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 2000 addition to the Norwalk urban renewal area. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Livingston, seconded by Cool. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Motion to waive third for final.
Second.
Motion by Livingston, seconded by Cool. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8J. It's a second and possible final reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 02-12, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the amendment to the amended 1999 addition to the Norwalk urban renewal area. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Livingston. Do I got a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Minneke.
Pass
Lindsay,
them
would you
around,
call
yes.
roll?
Councilmember Cool.
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Motion to waive final.
Second.
Motion by Livingston to waive final reading and a second by Cool. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8K is a second and possible final reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 03-14, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 2003 addition to the Norwalk urban renewal area. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Livingston, seconded by Cool. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Minneke.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Motion to waive final.
Second.
Motion by Livingston to waive the final reading, seconded by Cool. Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
Motion carries. Got those done. Item 9 is future agenda items. So the purpose of this is to give council, is for council to give direction to staff by way of motion to have items placed on future agendas. This is not for discussion of the merits of the subject matter. So does any council have any future agenda items they want to discuss?
I would like to bring up the carving out something for large like golf courses and our parks and rec for burning, open burning.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
All right, so that's a motion to put open burning ordinance onto an agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Okay, anything else? All right, item 10, council inquiries and staff updates. Luke?
Well, first, Tony Belizzi just sent me a text. He got a little bit of a bug. That's why he wasn't participating. Okay. So, but he just said that he didn't have anything else. For
Wayne
me,
handled it perfectly.
yes. Thanks, Wayne.
Actually, you did do a pretty good job.
A couple real quick things. I did career day at the high school. That was my first event of that. I'd like to say it went well, but even my son sat in one of my sessions and he was yawning, so I don't think.
I both did it, and we talked today and both said the rooms were just flat.
Okay,
So it wasn't
that
just
makes me
you.
feel better.
Now, it could have just been the three of us, but it wasn't just you.
I appreciate that. It was fun. I think that's a great idea that the school does that, to see them open up and have the ability to hear about so many different careers. That's pretty neat. Second thing, so there's been some discussions about that property tax form and some confusion for the public. So this afternoon, I put together a very short, was it 3.5 minutes, Gene? That step people through how to go to Beacon, search for their property, where to go to find the number for 2022, where to plug it in to the Department of Management created an Excel spreadsheet, a nice form where you plug in a few numbers, put in your taxes from 2022 from the Beacon website, put in your own personal taxes for 2023, and then you plug in the tax levy from the school, county, and city. And it will tell you exactly what your property, what you will pay in taxes different from current year to next year. Took 3.5 minutes. So we're gonna push out that video if there's any potential confusion, that should help at a very short amount of time.
So does
to
the
give them-
rollback automatically apply?
Yes. Yes.
And that was available all along, huh? Or is that something new that they put into these systems?
This is something the Department of Management, they even realize that this state legislative mandated form is gonna cause confusion.
Good.
So they put this together to help with that. And they did a great job.
Good.
That's all I have.
Call Senator Julian Garrett or Representative Stan Gustafson if you're in Norwalk and you're having confusion with your form. Just saying. Jackie.
I don't have anything.
Lindsay,
Nothing, thank you.
Robin, Jean.
Just a couple of things. In addition to the numerous programs and events the library has all of the time, we do have a couple of fundraisers that the Library Foundation are sponsoring. So I put flyers up at the council posts up there. There's caddy stacks because they're going to be turning the library into a 9-hole mini golf course for a couple of days. So that could be entertaining. The Friday night activity is an after hours for adults. So you can join us, have a beer or a glass of wine, some snacks, and go putt-putt around the library, all for a good cause, which is the library. And we also have a used book sale coming up. I know all of you pore over the monthly statistics that I turn into your packets. I'm sure you do.
Good, nice.
Yeah, but there's some new stats that we are collecting because we know that there's a shortage of gathering spaces in our community, and we hear about it a lot because we do have one meeting room to reserve. And we started counting on January 2nd the number of meeting room requests that we were not able to fill, and it's 24. And that is just the number that are coming through our website form. That's not counting yet the in-person telephone and email requests. So it's a definite need that people are wanting a place to gather. And 10 days ago, we started counting the number of requests for study rooms. Right now, we don't have any study rooms because all of that space is used. And we are at 10 requests in 10 days. So I just thought I'd remind you that people want to get together and they'd like to do it at the library.
Sounds like you maybe
That's
want to
awesome.
need to get a bigger facility.
Possibly. We should talk about that
Let's
later.
talk.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you. That's it.
Holly.
Just a couple things coming up with the DC trip, the economic development legislative trip in May. The full agenda is out now, so I don't know if the rest of you got that email. Okay, that's good.
I think if you were registered, you got it.
Okay, perfect. And we are working with Senator Ernst's office to probably set up a side meeting. I know they set up meetings with us and all the different legislators as groups. But we'll have a couple of just kind of private, Norwalk specific meetings with some of our legislators because we have such specific priorities that we're going there with. So we'll be working on that. And then, we'll have a development agreement coming up next month or in May for the contractor condominium project that's in the Dunn Industrial Park. And then we'll have our third hotel development group here next month as well to present. And then maybe we would start working towards just an MOU. Give a little time on the development agreement and just help them get their wheels in motion there. We did the MOU with the first two hotels as well before their agreements. And then if you've seen some news reports lately or news stories that have come out, I know this $300 million number keeps floating around out there. So I just want to make sure that we clarify that with everybody. That number is something that was established by a third-party development group. So the landowners that own the bulk of Norwalk Central had that put together as a construction estimate for what will be spent on private dollars to build out all of Norwalk Central when it's said and done. So that's a construction estimate of private dollars. So I know we keep hearing this and they're like, oh, it's costing the sports campus $300 million. Not true. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that number. And then what's interesting right now on the commercial development side of things is I think that we have interest, solid interest in new businesses of every type on almost every single piece of available commercial ground that we have in Norwalk right now. I mean, very avid, like competitive work with these development groups and businesses looking at these various pieces of commercial ground that we have around Norwalk. So that's interesting. But we need more land as well in the next couple of years. And then last, it would just be that we're still working with negotiating on what we call the mega project, which will be very high value, the highest value that we'll ever see in Norwalk probably. So still working on that and it's going very well.
Yeah, is there any public information that can be shared about the old Fairway building? I get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions too. And I've been in constant touch with the owners there and they have some very solid interest, but nothing that they can announce just yet either.
Okay,
So,
fair.
yep. I don't think it's a bowling alley. We'll say that.
That's all good news, Holly.
Yeah,
It's
thank-
nice to see the dirt moving up there for, I guess, quick stuff.
Quick start.
Yeah, quick start's moving.
Yeah, good start. Awesome. Gene.
Just a reminder, our next council meeting is scheduled April 4th. We will actually meet at 5:30 because we have an extra public hearing required by House File 718. So just make sure you're here at 5:30.
Thank you. Chief.
Just the UTV ride to benefit Officer Spur occurred on Saturday the 16th. There were 22 units that left 1908. There were no problems when they left town. It was reported to me that there was no problems when they returned to town. A couple or several joined the ride after it left town. Total raise is about $2,300. So seemed to go without any trouble. They followed what the rules we established and it made money. So win-win for everybody.
And I heard that Rick Hardy, to his credit, told the group, don't screw this up.
So,
Good for him.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Yeah.
and that's all.
All right. Thank you. Chief.
Just wanted to remind everybody about our annual pancake breakfast on Saturday, the 30th from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Thanks.
All right. Wayne.
Nothing.
Carrie.
Today I had the opportunity to speak at the Norwalk Chamber luncheon. And another person that spoke was, I can't remember her name, but
Jody
she's.
Erlmeyer.
Thank you, Jody Erlmeyer. Yeah, so she spoke to us about interns from the high school and over 30, I think there was 34 students, high school students came and they each came up front, talked on the microphone, said their name, who they were working for, highlights the things that they've learned and then what their future plans are. And I was just so impressed by these kids. So kudos to the parents. One of them was Jim Doherty's daughter. So it was really cool to see. That's all I have.
Thank you. Luke?
Through March 21st, we have 29 single family and townhome permits. So that's a lot for a March. We'll see if that keeps up. That takes us around 70 total for the year. So good things there. Keeps us busy. We do have a meeting tomorrow with someone talking about the Fairway building. So we'll see what comes of that. Seems like they're kicking tires on that pretty good. We've got 7 commercial permits in the hoppers with various tenant improvements and things. So those are coming through, keeping us busy on that side as well. I'd caution a little bit of temper your expectations with timelines that people throw out. There seem to be some pretty aggressive things out there, given where we're at and stuff, but we'll get things through as quick as we can and get things done. That's all we got.
All right, thank you. Good.
Hey, did the Metro Waste Association meeting last night. And, a little fire out at the disposal site. Garbage burn, but they put it out. And we got a $250,000 discount. Active. It came in under budget. $1.1 million.
That's a big compact.
Yeah, a lot of money and a lot of money in garbage.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out, Officer Jared Alcorn, the VFW gave him the life-saving award. And the local paper carried it in front page. But for those that don't recall, he was the officer that woke up the people in the house with a house fire.
Oh, yeah.
And tried to put that out as best he could. But that reflects well on the department, on the community, certainly. And his actions appreciated. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on that. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. George?
Nothing.
All right.
No.
Brian?
I've got nothing.
When you coming back to town?
Probably April 12th to 15th, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, vagabond of the road right there.
Sounds good. Jim was on, but now he's off. So, and I really don't have anything tonight. So we will move on. Item number 11. It's closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Section 2151J to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price that the governmental body would receive for that property. So Luke, is this a valid reason to go into closed session?
Yes.
All right. So can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Second? Okay, so motion by Cool, seconded by Livingston. Lindsay, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Cool,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Meineke.
Yes.
All right, so motion carries. We're going into closed session. It is 7:28 PM. We're going to recess for about 5 minutes while Lindsay, we clear the room and Lindsay changes the recording stick. Whatever
my
you
yard.
use.
It's kind of nice to have an audience.
What?
So,